Hello again, and it's time for another project. Today we're going to do some router work on this cartoon character. Now this is Oor Wullie. Oor Wullie. It's a Scottish character, so anybody from Scotland will recognise this chap straight away. But I make it for a friend of mine who's called Kenny, obviously. So it's, well, we would say our Kenny or Kenny. I do apologise if my Scottish accent's not quite up to scratch. Now, I have incorporated the Scottish flag on the actual bucket that is sat on there. Basically, it's just a blue background with a white cross. Now, we might leave that out towards the end of the project, depending how easy the rest is routing out. So we've printed off our image. We've stuck it onto this bit of pine wood here. It's just short of an inch thick. Just some scrap stuff I've had lying around in my shed. And I've placed the carbon paper underneath, as always. And if you draw around it all with a pen, and that just leaves you a nice image there that we're going to route on today. Excuse me, I'll just get that off there. That way you can use that template over and over again. Now I like to get pencil and colour in the areas we're going to remove. You don't want to go away, come back, start removing these sections here. You've certainly altered the project a little bit. So just take your time to shade in the areas that you want to remove. So you can see from that, hopefully we'll crack on with this and see how we get on. As always for me, I like to use these little CNC bits. They come in 15, 20, 30 degrees. They do have a small shaft on them, a 3.175mm. You can see there, a little CNC bit. So you will need what they call an adapter reducer collet, and that's basically just a simple tube like that. A couple of splits on the side. That slots into there to about that setting, and then that just slots into your 1/4 inch router, and that will clap onto there. 6.35mm or 1/4 inch, no problem. If your router takes 1/2 inch shanks, you're also going to need a bigger adapter. Now we will use this to go around all our lines, always up to the line, remember. So we're going to move this section here, so we'll go up to the line on that side, up to the line on that side. These smaller sections we will basically just remove with the CNC bit. But once we've gone around the old project, we'll take that out and I will pop in one of these end milling bits. I like these are really nice and they're quite small. They're the same size shaft on, 3.175mm. And we'll get one that fits into the sections we've done. We slide that into there, exactly the same. We set it to the same depth, and then we will go in to these larger sections and just remove all that penciled out area, and basically we could do the name obviously at the same time. Right, so that's all we have to do on this one. We'll pop in our CNC bit. I think it's a 15 degree on this one, so a nice new sharp bit. We'll route out to 3mm, and I'll use that on all mine. I know it's 3mm because it's roughly about the same thickness as that CNC bit, 3.175. So we'll put that in the router, pop our router on there, set it to that depth. There is depth gauges you can purchase eBay or Amazon, and then we know that's going to be plenty enough to start routing this one out. And like I just said previously, we'll do all the routing side of things, and if we're happy with that, we will paint that on there, or if not, we can literally just sand over the top of it. Okay, let's start routing this one out. And while we're on, it will be roughly 12 inches by 7.5 inches across. Okay, let's start routing this one out. Right, so we've made it all the way round with that little CNC bit there, remember? So we've done all our lines. Don't be overly concerned if you don't get right up to the line. You can just see there. When we come in with the end milling bits, we'll be able to nibble at that nicely. Now I did notice just there, look, it's just starting to drag a bit. Personally, I think that's just the bits are worn now. So next time we do another little project, definitely pop in a new bit. You'll notice a difference when you're going round. If it starts dragging like that, that means your bit's about worn out. So we got away with that one just for now. So just a simple case of removing that one. That will go in the bin now. We've had enough of that one. I'm going to pop in one of these end milling bits. They have the same size shaft on them, 3.175mm. And I can just push it up to that little barrier. They do come without the barrier now, so they are identical, but unfortunately don't have those different colours on. I'm not too sure what they do, but anyways, this is the only packet I could find like this. So we've popped it in. We'll set it to the same depth. We'll pop it in our router. We can use our piece of wood. Well, if you notice there, I like to just clear out the odd section as we're going about. So when we pop this in the router, we can literally just set it to the same depth of the letter R there, and then go inside and start clearing all these out. If we find it's a little bit tight around these smaller areas there, if it just focus. No. There we go. Inside there, this might just be a little bit big, so we can pop it down to a smaller size. Right, let's pop that in the router, set it to 3mm roughly. We'll start clearing the shaded area out. Okay, so we've gone all the way round with those little end milling bits, and we've managed to get inside the kilt there, the tartan effect. Hopefully when the black goes in the background, all that will look totally different again. We've gone around all the feet and we've cleared out all the lettering. So we've had no problems so far. There's been the odd little chip out, and I have got my concerns when we come to sand this down. A lot of these little dinky ones, if we can get right in there, I can just see them popping off personally. So we're going to have a little think about if we're going to put paint into the back of here. Ideally, black resin would be perfect. If you pour that in, that would set solid round all those little sections. You can see how small those are. Remember, you can just see the pencil line because we've routed out up to line. It doesn't matter if it's on it personally on something like this. By the time you've gone round it with your paint and stuff, you should be fine. Remember, we're going to cut it off there. I've just literally just drawn a line across here just to cut it down with, and I will route out a big slit in the background there, in the back should I say, just for hanging purposes. This is plenty thick enough, and it's recycled wood, remember, so we're going to get holes everywhere. This side's not as straight, but once we've played about with the mouse sander, sanded it down, rounded off these edges, cleared it all up, it will look totally different again, hopefully. Just before that, I just want to go in with a flexi cable. This just attaches to the end of a Dremel over there on the stand. And I have one of these little engraving bits. You'll get a pack of 30 for next to nothing, and they have round heads on, flat head, all nice and weird, wonderful shapes. And we'll get one that literally just fits inside there, and that will allow us just to go around and tidy up and get rid of these little bits that are hanging about. So we'll give it a nice tidy up first, cut that off, and then we'll see about popping some paint inside. Let's give it a tidy up first. Right, that's all our sanding done. So I went over it with a mouse sander. I took a chance and seen if any of those little bits have popped off, and they stayed fine. So we're going to go back with our original paint. If these were a bit fragile, I would have attempted to fill this in with resin and then sand it all flush. But I'm going to stick with paint. This is just a free gift for a friend of mine, so we'll save the resin for another project. So for now, you can see we've cleaned it all out. I grouted out a little slit in the back. That's nearly 3/4 deep there, so it's a good 3/4 inch thick, and that is plenty enough to hang that flush on the wall. And I've also chafed down the sides bit, literally with a mouse sander, just at an angle, like so. And we've gone all the way around and we've cleared it all up nicely. So now basically all we're doing is waiting for the paint to go in, which we're going to do next. Now, some woods you've got to be a bit careful. There is wood sealants out there that you basically brush on and it soaks into the wood and seals these edges. As you can see, these grains there, these lines, we've cut into those now. So in certain paints you can put in, it can bleed into the side walls, so you won't get a nice crispy edge. Personally myself, with pine and fencing wood, I don't really bother a lot. But this is a little bit chunkier. It's not quite the wood I'm used to using, so I'm going to spray on a bit of varnish. Is it going to serve a purpose? I don't really know. But for the 30 seconds it takes, it's best to be safe. So we're going to spray a bit of varnish on this. Hopefully that will seal all these and all around those delicate areas there. Then once it's dry, we're literally going to put our paint on top. Now for me personally, painter's touch paint, nice black paint, nice little stiff brush there, and we will basically just brush it on like so. Nice and easy. There is spray paints. I have some black paint over here, I believe. But that's about empty, so we'll give that one a miss. For me personally, I do prefer to brush paint. It's just the way it is. So we will get right down in these, and we'll give it 2 or 3 coats of the black, getting right in there into those small areas. And we've even routed out the centre of the Scottish flag there as well. So we'll put little black bits in there. So we'll give it all a good spray with the varnish, paint it all down, good sanding down after that. Hopefully it'll all sand out nicely. This will really stand out well, we hope anyway, with not too much bleeding, if any at all. And then we'll just give it one final spray of varnish to finish it off. So before that, the varnish first, nothing fantastic. We're just going to spray that on, get inside all those little bits here, and I'll let this dry off, and then I'll come back, maybe put another couple of coats on, and hopefully we're achieving the goal, which is to seal that wood inside there. Okay, once that's dry, we'll simply put the black paint in. Right, hopefully that's nice and dry now. And we've done the best we can to seal any of this wood. Stop that paint just from bleeding into the side walls there. Like I said previously, it might not need it, but for what it takes, a couple of minutes, it's not worth spoiling a little project. We want things to be nice and crispy, at least best we can. So we're going to paint it. So painter's touch paint, nothing fantastic. It's just a case of getting into all those small areas, like so. And I'll let this first one just sit about, and then we'll go over it all again. And if should need be, we can play about in these certain areas. Make sure you get right inside those letters there. You can see from that, you get the general idea. It's been a nice slow process. These are nice little summer projects. You can sit outside in the garden in the sunshine and just take your time. Okay, we'll get it from that. I'll come back and hopefully this will be nice and dry and we can get on with sanding it down. Okay, you can see from that, I gave it 2 coats of the black, and that's all nicely dry now, and that's plenty enough for what we want for our little project. The only issue is the cross itself. That's very shallow, so we've got to be a bit careful not to over sand it, because you can basically just sand away that little bit of routing out, should I say, but that's not going to be an issue as such. So hopefully we'll get them coming out of there eventually. Now for sanding, because we have used the mouse sander already and we had no issues as regards these little sections dropping off, I'm going to start with that, and then just take our time and literally just sand over the old piece. There's obviously different sanders out there. I have a nice orbital one. That just might be a little bit too aggressive on these smaller sections here. Just about to see that with the light. What we don't want to do is start breaking those off. So the mouse sander would be the delicate of the two. And I have this big belt sander. That will whip that off no problem. But it'll probably whip off half the project as well. So to play safe, we'll start with the mouse sander and see how we get on with that. Right, you can see from that we've painted on the Scottish flag there. Just cheap Crawford and Black acrylic paints, nothing fantastic. I was going to use the painter's touch, but I just couldn't quite get the blue near as we need. So that's our little painting all done now. As regards to bleeding, is there any? If I look really, really tight, you might find some little sections in here. Personally, myself, around there, that's where that CNC bit was getting worn out, and we've dragged that wood, so we haven't got the crispier cuts. But if you look up towards the shoulders there, look, that's all nice and crispy all the way around there. All those bits have got no problem. Around that side, better still. And the lettering's fine. It's definitely near enough for what we want for a little free gift for a friend. He'll be more than happy with that, I can guarantee you 100%. So next stage now for me, if you watch my previous videos, would be to use boiled linseed oil, basically just to darken that wood down. But I did notice when we did our little varnish, remember, just before we put the paint in, it darkened the wood down plenty enough. So to finish this project today, just straight in, I've got 151 today. Doesn't matter if it's yacht varnish, paint factory varnish, just a clear lacquer. It's just a simple case. We'll start off on here for the video, and we'll take it outside with a bit of fresh air blowing around, and we'll see what it ends up. Remember, we want to do all the sides as well. So literally just over like so, and that's going to be plenty enough just to darken that wood down, and also give a shine on that acrylic paint. Right, we'll let this dry, and then we'll go outside and do 3 more coats, and then when we come back, this little project will be finished. Right, that's it. This little project is finished. We gave it 3 or 4 coats of the 151 varnish. It's an indoor piece, so we don't have to get too crazy, and that's plenty enough. As you can see from that, just give that little bit of a shine. It just makes the project look more finished for me. So we use the CNC bits, remember, to do our lines with. They do have a small shaft on them, so you want your little adapter collet. And that just simply just slots in there, remember. I will put links into all these little bits I use. Remember, these are just the bits that I use. There is better bits out there, I'm sure, that come with a better price. And then we have the end milling bits, just to remove the remainder of the wood on the project. We sprayed a little varnish on there just to seal it up. Did it need it or not? Anyway, we've done the job, and it takes a matter of minutes to do. And then popped in a little bit of painter's touch black to do all the black sections. Give a nice quick sanding over. Then just acrylic paint, nothing fantastic there either. Just to do the flag itself, nice and simple. And then to finish it off, 151 varnish. It could have been yacht varnish, paint factory varnish. Today it's 151, so I have no preference. And size wise, it comes in at literally just short of 8 inches by 12 inches. And that's it. This little project is finished. Just give it a go. Enjoy yourselves. Nice little fun projects that basically, personally myself, I think anybody can do these. Thank you very much for watching.